Hi there, it's Dale Elena here. I'm just back from my surgery in Marbella. I probably look a little different. I'm going to discuss it a little bit, just what I've gone through the last 10, 12 days and how I feel about the results, and just let you know where I am right now. I sound strange because I'm still very numb through the bottom of my mouth, kind of through like here to here, and then kind of right through here as well. And also my nose is quite numb too. It feels like there's no nose on my face at the moment, except when I touch it. So I have, I'm now 11 days post-surgery in Marbella at Facial Team, which is a facial feminization surgery company in Spain, who specialise in doing feminization for trans people and others, I suppose. Nothing to stop anyone else deciding to do it. And so it's quite an extensive bit of surgery, and although I'm still coming to terms with it and getting used to how I look, I'm pretty happy with the results. A lot of the things I'm not happy with are really just related to feeling weird because I can't speak properly, and there's still some discomfort, and there's a lot of swelling here. So all of this is swelling. Really, this kind of still looks like how I looked before, but I can tell you underneath there is a much smaller chin. It's just there's a lot of pudginess in the way. Eventually it'll be kind of like that, and you'll see that it'll be quite different. So just to go from top to bottom, what I had done, I had my chin reshaped, so the chin and the jawline, so right around. I then had a lip lift, which is basically taken a piece of material from this part of the lip and then reattached it, cut it off and then just reattached it. So essentially it's opened the mouth a bit more. That will settle down again, which is probably a good thing because it's a bit crazy right now. I'm kind of like this, and I can't quite speak. And smiling is really hard. Someone sent me a funny video online last night, and it really hurt. I couldn't stop laughing because it was really, really funny. And at the moment, the way the surgery is healing, it was just like, ow, kind of horrible. So there you go. Okay, and working my way up, I did have rhinoplasty as well. I didn't intend to have a whole lot done, and I think it will look more and more like my other nose as it heals. It's very, very early days. But my one bit of buyer beware sort of caveat emptor thing I would have would be my nose. I think they did more than I was intending or we had even discussed, potentially. But I think at the same time, when the whole package is kind of sorted out, I think it'll be much, much better, and it still looks like me. Again, there's a lot of swelling through here. This is quite tight because of the sutures healing. It's quite kind of puffy still, and also through the bridge, there's a lot of swelling here, so that will change too. It'll become a little finer looking, which is more like how my nose was before. It's a little sharper, which I quite liked. There you go. And then the major thing that has really changed and has been very successful in my opinion is the brow. So what they do is they take away a piece of the skull here. I'm checking myself out just so I can make sure I'm showing you properly, but take away this piece of the skull, they remove it, and then they file down around there, and basically the brow ridge and the occipital ridges, and then they put that piece of skull back in with titanium screws. So I have a bunch of titanium screws in here somewhere. I can't even do that now, even if I look at the screen. But the big difference there you can see is that in profile, it's a much more softer kind of slopey thing. It doesn't kind of jut out and jump back in again. So that's really significantly different. And as soon as I woke up from surgery and looked in the mirror, you could see that because that wasn't covered by anything in bandaging and things. So whereas all of this was very tightened up, there was bandaging here and bandaging around here. So in the moment I came up from surgery, I can see that had changed. And it really opens up the eyes. They look kind of rounder and bigger, and that's really lovely. And it's going to be quite interesting because I think my makeup will be different because you can really see more of my eyelid, and there's less hoodiness in there as well. So it has a bonus. I kind of look a little bit younger because of that. But it also means that I could maybe do a wing on the eyeliner, which I've never been able to do because it just vanished under my saggy eyes before. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what that looks like. So the surgery was, I was nervous going in. They're very good. I went in the morning, Wednesday morning on the 11th at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning. They put me on pretty quickly, and then I was expecting to come out of the surgery around 2 or 3 p.m. That's what I'd been told, and I realised later on that was actually incorrect information. It's actually a very long procedure because there's multiple procedures, and they're doing 2 patients at the same time, so they're jumping back and forward. So there's another lady who was in another English lady actually who was in surgery around the same time as myself. Now I woke up in the evening and it was obviously dark, and I was in agony, not from anything they'd done here, but from my shoulders and my bum had been obviously asleep and immobile for a long time, much longer than I expected. It turned out it was like 9 o'clock in the evening, so I was much later, and eventually my friend Ruth turned up to kind of to visit me and reassure me because I was a bit panicky, and I was still on the drugs, coming off the drugs, that something had gone wrong because it had gone on so long. And it turned out, no, actually nothing had gone wrong. It had gone very, very well, and it just takes 10 to 12 hours to do the surgery. So I wish I'd known that before I'd gone, and it wouldn't have freaked me out so much. At the time when I woke up, I was kind of like, shit, there must have been some complication to have it go this long or something. But there wasn't. It was fine. But there you go. But so, yeah, when I woke up, it was all about my shoulders. All the nurses are Spanish, so they're not always the best English. And also, I don't think I was actually as intelligible as I felt like I was. I felt quite lucid, but all I really could feel was that I just needed to move my arms and massage the muscles in my shoulders, which had essentially just gone to sleep. And I did that myself for a while in bed, just trying to get my arms moving. And that and my bum were the worst thing. The first day, I had to sleep on my hand because if I slept on the part of my bottom where that had been sitting on the surgical bed, in fact, I can still feel it now, 10, 11 days later, those little pieces of muscle in the center of where my coccyx is had just obviously been squeezed, and kind of just the blood flow had just gone out of them, and they're just completely asleep. Now, as I say, I can still feel that in my shoulders and my bum being the worst, but it did go away after a couple of days. And the next day when I woke up in the morning, they took off the wrapping of the bandage, and there was a drain coming down the scar that I have over my top of my head. They took that out. That was the weirdest thing because it makes noise, and you can hear it as they kind of pulling this tube out of the top of your skull. And there's kind of like a ripple effect of like pulling it through, and that's really disconcerting. But they do it really fast, and it's over really quickly. So that's all good. And then after that, really, it's just sleeping, eating well as you can, letting the drugs get out of your system, cleaning things, cleaning the mouth. So to be really specific, I'm obviously just rambling a little bit, speaking a bit quickly, but there are incisions inside my mouth where they went and did the jaw. There are very, very subtle scars around my nose, across the center here and underneath here, and there were in the corners where they basically took my nostrils and went like that. The one here is incredible. It's actually almost gone already, and it's just like, wow, that's skill. It's so subtle. It's like a finest line, that you can see if you spot it. And then the scar for my forehead is all the way over the top of my head, from like ear to ear. It's up here, and just to be really gruesome, what they do is they actually take the top part of your head and they fold it down, and then they can get to the bone here, and then they fold it back up, and then they tie it all together again. So I have very little. I can feel most of my forehead, but it's kind of not quite there. I really can't feel the top of my head. There's some pressure I can feel, and a little bit of tingling when I do that. Not sore, but I wouldn't want to really push too hard. But that's all going to come back eventually. It'll take some time, take a number of weeks, and the whole thing will settle down over a period of 6 months, really. So the big part of the swelling is now starting to really disappear. So the worst stuff should be gone in another week. So 14 days to 15, 16 days after surgery, and I'll look fairly normal. And certainly I'm walking around and no one really cares. It's only me that knows what I look like before. But then over time, the swelling will decrease around places, and more subtly will change through here. Things might get a little lopsided and then get even again. All of this will really hopefully go down. And you might notice some stripes on my skin too. That's because I wear a strap to help me heal. And I'll show you what that looks like. It looks really pretty cool. It's like this. It's like, I live in this thing. Poof. This is me most of the time at home and at night when I go to sleep. So that helps the tissues realign themselves or stick rather than hanging down in gravity. So yeah, that's what I kind of look like a lot of the time at the moment. And really, I'm really used to it so who cares? And it does help, so it's good. And drinking loads and loads of water. But yeah, so 10 days on, I feel pretty normal physically. I'm moving around. I'm walking fine and doing things I need to do. I can lift things not too heavy. I don't want to strain because of I don't want to like pop something in my forehead or burst anything weird. So you don't want to over pressurize things. When you sneeze, you have to sneeze with your mouth open and just let it go, because otherwise it's holding it in and tightening things up, and again your sinuses could go, so you've got to be very careful for a while. I've got to be careful with my hair because of the sutures here still healing, and using the right specific medical shampoo for a little while longer before I can do anything. I can't really go back to the hairdresser for 6 weeks. I can't do my brows for 5 weeks from now, I think, and that's a bit of a shock. I'll just have to like trim. There's already ones grown back, but never mind, that's okay. It's all what you need to do. And every time I eat as well, I have to brush my teeth and then use a mouthwash, which helps the sutures that are in here stay clean, because it's still a scar essentially, and it's slowly healing away, and also the sutures themselves are slowly dissolving, so they'll just disappear in their own good time. So nothing really tricky. I have to say that, so the first day in the hospital was a bit weird, and I felt pretty bad, mostly because I was a bit panicked. I never felt really any pain, and I still don't. There's like occasionally a little, I can feel some sensitivity, and you wouldn't want to go like this. That would probably really hurt. But the whole thing has been, I've been on ibuprofen to help the swelling and some pain relief, and they did give me some pain relief in the hospital, but it's not major. The first night they gave me something really fun, and I was having some woozy flashing images and all sorts of stuff, and that was pretty good, but I wouldn't want to do that all the time. And after that I really didn't need it, and I'm not taking any painkillers at all now. So overall, the first day was like, whoa, that's kind of tricky. And then it's been like, oh, okay, cool, and just kind of healing up and getting on with things. So all in all, an expensive but really successful procedure. And I feel I look quite different, especially the nose. I think the nose is a little bit too kind of upturned. I was more like that before, and so I'm finding that a bit of an adjustment. But I think it's also the balance of my face because of the swelling here. I'm still kind of like looking forward to the bit where I'm going to be more like that, and that actually, as soon as I do that, it looks more like myself, so that will come back. I've got no makeup on right now. There's a bit of facial here you can see because I wasn't able to do laser before the surgery, and I won't be able to for a couple months, so I'll just have to live with that for a bit and put more makeup on, and that's okay. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, the whole thing's been a pretty interesting experience. I'll talk I don't want to go on too long on this, but talk very briefly that last couple of days have been strange because I've had more weird things, like caught my reflection in a mirror and kind of gone, oh, who's that? Walking down the street when you see yourself, and it does feel like there's a really strange thing to your own identity changing when you change something major in your own face or something happens. And I imagine if someone had an accident and they were disfigured, it would set off similar things. You feel like you've got a mask on. Like I feel like my actual face is under here and there's another person's face on top. And I think that'll take some time to kind of like settle and get my sense of identity kind of linked back to my own face again. And I imagine for someone who has had something more disfiguring happen, like an accident or something, that would be really sad, because it would take, eventually you will be connected to that and it will feel like that mask is permanent and it's you. But there is a really weird, strange moment of adjusting and feeling like you're not yourself. Although also on the flip side, very quickly you look in the mirror and it is you. So you're looking out of these eyes at yourself and you're seeing the movement, and so your brain very quickly is saying, this is me. This is what I look like. So there's kind of two conflicting things there. There's a kind of weirdness and a comfort happening very quickly at the same time. So I think I'll go moments of these things kind of doing this until it sort of settles out and becomes normal again. And I think that's probably just the way it goes. And, there could be depressing things, I think, if you were not happy with the results. The nose, for example, I'm still a little bit unsure about, and I think I will get used to, so it'll be fine. But initially I was having a real kind of buyer's remorse, thinking, oh, I wish I'd been stronger about saying I didn't want to do very much, because the nose is something I really wasn't going to do at all, and just put it on there to kind of, I thought it was an opportunity to do something with my nose and maybe trust someone else's opinion about it. but I wondered whether I should have enforced my own sense of that I liked my nose before more to that person. But then at the same time, this is a surgeon who is obviously very good. Look at that. There's nothing there. That they're coming across these faces more often. They're balancing the features together. I need to keep my trust in that process for a bit longer because it's only been 10, 11 days. And, in 6 months' time, I think I'll probably be very appreciative of the way that they've chosen to do certain things. And I think it'll really help me further transition and carry on. So, there you go. There's a little tickle of thoughts in my head about it. I'll have a better way of expressing this after a little bit longer, thinking of it through, maybe writing it down a little bit too. But there you go. So I thought I'd do a little update just to say I'm back and, things went well and I feel good. Still weird. I'm probably looking more at myself than I normally do because I'm a bit like, oh, strange, But when I smile, I feel I'm more like myself. It's just hard to smile. I can't actually do very much because this hurts in here. So I can't move the upper lip very well. So it's like, oh. So ouch. There's sort of I need to recover from that. But I think overall it's pretty good, and I think as this heals up as well, I'll start to feel more kind of normal. And but I'm pretty optimistic about how it's going to finish up, and especially once I get my hair done and do some makeup and things, I think it'll be really cool. And I already feel kind of more feminine walking down the street, so that's a really good thing. Okay, cool. I'm going to leave that one there, and I might flash frame a photograph of my face without its skin on, for the gory minded, but I might just do it as like 2 frames so you can either not see it or choose to stop and look at it if you want. And I will probably put a couple of images of my skull before and after as well, so you can see the differences. Particularly the really noticeable one, the jaw is very clear in the image, the CT scan, but the orbits of the eyes and the skull is where you really see it. Because it's a front-on view that I'll show. So you can see in one view, the masculine one, the eye sockets are almost rectangular, and there's a pronounced ridge, which is hard to see in that front-on image, but you can kind of get a sense of it there. And then in the feminine, the post-surgical CT scan, you can see how rounded the eyes are and how much it's kind of opened up the eyes, and kind of, I think that whole area of the eye is the really interesting thing, and I think I'm the most happy with. I think it's so great. And just pretty fascinating at the same time too. Okay, cool. So thanks very much for watching this update, and I will do another one as I get a bit further along this process. Okay, bye.